This question's really weird. I don't know if I should read this one. I'm going to.
Read it.
My second cousin is really hot and we always have a heavy flirting vibe. What do I do?
Get a grip.
Like, we just made him gasp. Wait, do we clap or are we good?
We clap.
Oh, okay. Hi, welcome back to the Overheard podcast. I'm Emily from OverheardLA and a Taurus.
And I am Justina. I am the head of history at Overheard, and I am a Scorpio.
Step into our office. Our guest today is a comedian, podcaster, and Aquarius we're lightly obsessed with. She's appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Conan, Comedy Central, and she shares a birthday with Michael Jordan, the biggest accomplishment. Welcome to the office, Megan Gailey.
Hello. Wow, I did not anticipate we were going to have so much sports talk before we got on the mic.
We are very sporty gals today.
We are very sporty.
I'm into it.
I like prepared myself mentally because I know you are very sporty.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I do know who Travis Kelce is.
Well, see, there's so much, there's such an intersection now of pop culture and sports.
Yeah.
And so a lot of gals and gays and actually not straight men. The straight men are like standing firm if they don't like sports because they're like, none of this interests me. And then every 4 years they pretend to like international soccer.
That's so right.
It's so
That's so true.
Straight men that hate sports and love soccer.
And they're like, it's football.
They're
It's
so
proper
annoying.
football.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you studied abroad. Good for you.
I've never thought about that, but you're so right. It's that one type of guy that makes me ill. Like that. There is nothing worse than that man. Wow, you've opened my eyes.
Reading at a bar.
I actually don't like sports.
Yeah,
Or
probably
they're
doesn't
like, I
have
hate
social
baseball.
media, but a very active LinkedIn.
Oh God.
And every couple months they go on LinkedIn to be like, I'm thrilled, positively thrilled to share
I'm actually very thrilled. I do not have a LinkedIn. It's like one
That's-
of the perks of
entertainment.
being in. I was like going to say creative, but I guess creative. I don't have one. I'm just like, I don't have one. There's nothing to put
No,
on
but
there.
it's real because I'm a creative, but I like work at a company. So I
Yeah.
have a LinkedIn, but I don't use it. And I feel like every like 5 years I go on there to like a bunch of requests and a bunch of people's status updates about like business jargon about how thrilled they are to be
Yeah.
contributing to a project. And I'm like, get me the fuck out
It's
of here.
I'm hearing from my like single friends. It's a
scary.
lot of people's like main form of social media.
Oh, I thought you were going to say single friends. Like, do people date from LinkedIn?
I know friends that have like stalked on LinkedIn. Like they were like,
Well,
if they can't do that, because you
Yeah.
think they're trying to find like the financial.
I'm like,
That's
tell
like
me-
glass dooring the salary of the guy you're hooking
So
up
what
with.
do you do without asking? What
Yeah,
do you do?
I had a friend who like had I think hooked up with a guy and then gone on a date and did not know his first name. And so another friend was like, on Instagram I'm not going to be able to find it, but on LinkedIn I absolutely will be able
That's
to.
a really
And she
good-
could. She was
that's
like,
a
I know
really-
the company and I know the college and we will be able to find him.
But on LinkedIn, doesn't it do like so-and-so views?
I have no idea.
No, you can be on private. You
Well,
have
and
to
it was
be
a
on
friend.
private.
Like she had
okay.
a friend do it who works in recruiting. So it's like,
Oh,
a
that's
recruiter
proven.
can go poking around
Poor
wherever
guy
they
probably
want.
was like, "Oh, I'm being considered
Yeah.
for a job."
Ooh, a tech startup. And it's like, no, our friend had sex with you.
That's incredible. That's actually a really good, that's a hot tip.
LinkedIn scares the shit out of me. I think it's just the one social media network I like don't want to touch.
My brother is a realtor and he always is like, can you help me pick a headshot? Because he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, who took these? Like,
Where is he a realtor?
in DC. And so
Oh.
DC people, it's Hollywood for dorks.
Yeah.
And so like the taste level is like interesting there where it's like, oh, you don't want someone to look good? Seems like I thought that's what a headshot was for. And it's like, no, and I don't
They take you seriously if you're a little uglier.
Doing stand-up I actually love doing stand-up in DC, but it's a lot of people. It's like the actually city. It's a lot of like hand raisers. Like
Wait,
it's a,
people who raise a hand during your set?
less that,
Oh,
but people that would
shook me to my
like
core.
be at like when someone is just like going, any questions? And it's like, you don't want there to be any
Yeah.
questions. And someone then raises their hand and doesn't ask a question, but clears up something that person said earlier.
Oh God, that's
They all move to DC and take really bad headshots. Is what at one point DC was like voted as, not voted, but it was like research said that they spent the most money on their work wardrobe of any city in the
No,
country.
Really?
I was shocked.
And
You
it all
can't
looks the
tell.
same.
But I guess it's just suits.
It's suits.
yeah.
It's like a bespoke suit. Like they're like,
Yeah.
but you don't know. And I'm like, no, I don't know.
I'm
It looks
glad
like
I
Men's
never-
Warehouse to me.
I would have said like New York.
Yeah.
Like fashion.
I wouldn't have
people.
said Chicago. Chicago's
I'm from
just-
Chicago.
So, I lived there. I love it. But it's just a loose Patagonia. Like
I love a
that's-
vest.
Where are
Of
you
course.
from?
I'm from Indianapolis.
Oh.
The poor man's Chicago.
So we've got like strong Midwest energy at the table.
Yeah.
today. I do
So
like this.
Indianapolis is like the inferiority complex to Chicago.
Is that true?
I think so. I deem Chicago to be like the top dog of the Midwest, and most of the other cities know that. Even though you'll see like Detroit versus everybody, Cleveland versus everybody. It's like, okay, we got it. And Indy is not going to do that. But then I think the real outlier that feels too good about itself is St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis does. You're so right
Interesting.
about
I
that.
Despise St. Louis.
Oh, tell more.
I
Why?
hate doing stand up there. They're always like, I'm from St. Louis. It's like, no one is impressed by that. You invented fried ravioli, which it's like, that's just a cheese stick in a worse, packaging. And like, I know people that are like, well, I went to private school in St. Louis. It's like, you are saying things that don't matter.
Wait, what is that one college? There's the one college in St. Louis.
Well, there's Wash U.
That one, I think, is what I'm thinking about. Like, you know if that's where they went.
Oh yeah, and they're so fun. And it's like, okay, great, awesome, thank you, St. Louis.
I have not had a great experience. I've only been a few times and it hasn't been. I'm like, I don't think I need to go back.
I did stand up there. I've done stand up there a few times, but I did like 2 shows there. So there was a late show, which is like always gonna be like, people are probably gonna be drunk, but there had been a Cubs Cardinals day game.
Oh,
and this was at
shit.
the House of Blues. So it's like these tickets are like expensive.
Yeah.
You're not just like stumbling off of the street. And like a third of the crowd was like passed out drunk. Just like in like sunburnt in Cardinals gear.
You're like,
asleep.
and that's our show.
Yeah.
Like,
And they were
off I-
there to see like a famous person. Like I was opening for a famous, and I was like, you guys wasted a lot of money to take
So
a
they fell
nap.
asleep for the famous person. Do
Yeah.
you still tour?
I
Like,
do.
around? Is that
No,
'cause-
I saw Midwest Mama. I'm like, that's very fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I went back to the Midwest. I definitely am like going places where I'm like, I can bring my child.
Yeah, well, because I was
Well,
going to
that's
ask what
real.
it's like with a baby. What is that? But that's
I
where
didn't-
podcasting is probably.
Yeah,
also
I didn't
great.
love going on the road pre-baby. I
Mhm.
just, it does to some extent feel like a younger person's game, where it's like, now I have like a husband and a house and a baby. So to like go,
Just staying up past 9 p.m. is a young
it's
person's game.
really hard.
Yeah, I think it's why I couldn't be a comedian.
Like that, my first like road weekend post baby was to San Diego, and I had a really bad time. I was just like, I missed him, and I was like, I left my family to go do stand up for flip flop racists. Like, it's just really. It used to be sad. Like if you had a bad show or a bad experience, it was like sad, and now you're like, I left my family for this. Like you
Oh,
feel
that's funny.
stupid. But I'm going to Seattle in a few weeks, and so if I can leave Friday morning and be back Sunday morning, then that's actually a nice time. But I did take my son with me to go to like a run of shows in the Midwest, and it was impossible.
All right, you already know that we are huge fans of Mean Girls on this podcast.
She doesn't even go
She
here.
doesn't even go here. So the all-new Mean Girls movie is coming to theaters on January 12th. Very excited because it is still Tina Fey, but it's a twist on the original. She's back as Miss Norbury, our favorite teacher, and an amazing new cast like Anne Gowrie Rice as Katie and Chris Briney as Aaron Samuels. So hot.
Love
And
him.
Regina George is played by Renee Rapp.
There's also a new song for the movie from Renee Rapp and Megan Thee Stallion called Not My Fault.
Banger.
Mean Girls is only in theaters January 12th, and you can buy your advance tickets right now at meangirls.com.
I'm so excited. Can we wear pink?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
This is going to be the first Christmas where he can like grab everything. And I'm like, there's a lot of
it's gonna
snowmen that
be-
aren't going to make it to 2024.
Well, that'll help you
Any
pare it down a
crystal
little.
ones. Yeah, that's true. That'll be a nice like release of what's her name? Who's the Simplify Your Life person? Why am I blanking?
Oh, Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo.
I thought you were going to say Ann Geddes.
was like, who's the famous anti-hoarder? What was her name?
Yeah.
Didn't
Marie
she like turn
Kondo.
back on her?
Well, she had kids. She had 3 kids,
and then
was
all of a sudden
like,
she realized actually life is really fucking messy when you have kids.
Yeah.
I give up.
which is actually very true. I feel like it's very easy to give
Yeah.
advice, and I have no kids, but I've been a nanny. I've nannied for a lot of time in
You
my
can't
life.
keep a Marie Kondo house. With
You
children
just
in it.
can't. You
It's
can't.
It's a smart brand decision too, because it's like, oh, she's like, well, maybe I can find you some way to organize all of your kids' art.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, she was playing a single woman's game. And it's like, well, it's kind of
Yeah.
smart to play like as many games as you can,
Yeah.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah, good. What's she doing? What's she up to?
She has 3 kids.
She's got
She's
3
parenting.
kids.
She's parenting.
Do you think she ever picks one up and says, this doesn't bring me joy?
See, I bet.
Goodbye, middle one.
We'll have her on and be like, which of your kids doesn't bring you joy?
3 kids is a sign of wealth.
I
Right? That's my initial.
100%
Whenever somebody has
agree with
more
that.
than 2, it's like, oh, so you're rich.
Yeah, I have a friend with 5 kids. She
In
don't-
LA?
No.
I was like, you know a
She
billionaire?
runs a cult. No, in Indiana.
Oh,
And
I do think that it's easier to have more kids in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like I do have a
One
few
kid
friends
in LA is expensive.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. 1 is a
Yeah.
lot. 2 is really, and now we're really getting like, you know, the shame that people are like, oh, well, you don't have kids, you don't understand. Then that once you have 1 kid, it turns into, well, you only have 1 kid, so you don't understand. It like, and then if you have 2, it's like, well, we have twins. Like it's a
There's
real
always-
one upsmanship of like, my life is harder because I didn't pull out as much. Like it's like these are all conscious decisions
I had a
you
fun for
made.
one night and I'm paying
Yeah.
for it forever.
A lot of convincing
Is
to have a
mom-
second kid.
Culture in LA, like,
Ooh,
is
boy.
it? What is like? I just feel like it's got to be crazy.
It's so bizarre and like beautiful, and the outfits, and like I rode the bus to school. That's what I did. I walked to the end of my driveway or the end of my street, and I got on the bus, and my parents didn't know where I was, if I made it or not. In LA, it's like you are basically like bringing your child into the teacher up until high school, it feels
Yeah.
like.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of like drop off, and where my son goes to school in Pasadena. Daycare, not school.
My son is a
He's
scholar.
really on the track to get into Harvard.
He's in
like-
grade Bumblebee. So he's a Bumblebee. And Pasadena, I made the mistake of sending him to daycare in the one place in LA that actually cares about education. And I'm like, no. I don't want you to be with doctors. I want you to be with influencers, kids. Like, I want you to be smart amongst the ding dongs. And now I'm
True,
like,
be a big
oh
fish.
no, I got a ding dong who's now next to 2 anesthesiologist kids.
Well, here's the thing. Going back to the like the kind of like LA parent culture, I'm like, I think your lives could be much better, much happier. You guys are driving yourselves
Simpler.
crazy. They're like, I need to get them into this like daycare. And I'm like, the kid doesn't know.
No.
They're playing
Yeah.
with blocks. They shit themselves.
They're in grade
I think it's
Bumblebee,
okay.
eating Play-Doh, like,
and it's like these
all the-
people are like so, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess that's worth like an IV down the line or something. I'm like, you're
I
going
don't think
to
it
kill yourself.
Is though. I'm already encouraging my child not to go to college. I have him on the no college track because I don't want to pay for it, and I don't think I'll be able to afford it when it's whatever it costs.
Oh yeah, by the time your
in
kid goes to
18
college, it's going to be
years.
$1
or
billion.
like getting in. It's so much harder to get into schools now. Like I wouldn't have even gotten
I
into
tell him
college.
all the time, I go, learn a trade. He doesn't even speak. And I go, learn a trade. I want you to be a welder.
Teaching him to
a
change tires.
plumber, okay? My husband's going to teach him editing. Like, he needs to be a skill based. This is a gig economy, young man. So no, you are not going to go to UC Davis. Okay, you're not going to get in. You're not going to have. And he's biracial. But once the Supreme Court took that away, I go, you got to learn something.
It's gonna be just iron welding.
So he needs to, I'm like, make a cool lamp, make a light fixture. Let's get a patent on something.
Yeah.
Like he's not
Dude,
on.
we
We're not gonna-
always talk about inventing something.
yeah.
Like that would be legit.
Yeah, I have an app idea.
Oh, don't break it on
well,
the
don't-
podcast.
I don't want someone to
know, I
take
really
it.
But tell us
shouldn't.
after because
Tell
we
us
do want to know.
after.
But
Okay.
And your podcast is called I Love My Kid Butt, which is
Mhm.
a great name
Thank
for a
you.
podcast.
Thank
and it's
you.
is it all like all of your guys are parents, right?
Yeah, so it's myself and 2 dads.
Oh, that's fine.
And the ranges of kids. I have the youngest kid, and then Kurt, his daughter is almost 7. So we go from 1 to 7, but then we have guests on that have children that are, newborns all the way up to like 40. So even though
40-year-old children.
Yeah, 40. Oh yeah, we had a mom on that was like, my daughter's 35. And we were like, oh my God, you're like done. She was like, oh, she lives with me. And I was like, no.
No, it's
like,
lifelong.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why I'm like staving off kids for as long as I can. Cause I'm like, I feel like once that like switch flips, you're done. Like it's forever.
Yeah,
like
you don't
you've
really
committed
undo
to
it.
this thing forever. I feel like I talk about this a lot, but I want a lot of children. And I'm like, I don't have time, but I'm going to try.
You're going to try.
Just go to Poland.
How many?
In my dream scenario, I mean like 6. I don't think we have enough time for 6. Just sadly, father time is ticking.
That is so expensive.
No, I know. That's the other thing is I can't afford it.
You'd have to move somewhere.
My dad is a twin and I have cousins that are twins. And so I was so sick in my first trimester and everyone was like, you have twins. You're having twins.
Doesn't it run like
it does.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to have a twin. This is going to be so great. And it's on the paternal side. Sometimes it skips. Like I was like, yes. And then she was like, there's one heartbeat. I was like, no. And my doctor was like, you do not want twins. I'm like, then I would have been done. Now
what I've thought about.
Now my fear is if I go for another one, I have
You're gonna have
twins.
twins.
And then I move back to Indiana.
I've had the exact same thought about twins. I've been like, twins
Yeah.
would be great because it's like a one-stop vagina blowout and then we're done.
You don't know any different.
Yeah, you don't know any. But I've also had the thought of like, what if you were trying for a second or a third and they're like, it's quintuplets.
Well, then you just got a TLC
Johnny Kate
show.
Pussy.
Like you gotta just like at that point of your life, you're just like, well,
And that's obviously worked out so well for all of those
yeah.
people.
No, they're doing great.
Like brand deals.
My grandma had 2 boys and was like, I'm going to try one more time for a girl and had twin boys. So she had 4 boys in 3 years.
I always think of that like Bridesmaids. She's like, I cracked a towel
Oh.
in half. It's just like,
Yeah.
a house full of boys.
We were at my son's Halloween costume parade and he hated it. He was like, he was supposed to be a Dodger dog and he was furious and he just like wouldn't do it. And so I was just having to hold the hot dog costume in front of him. And it was just like a disaster. And the other parents are looking at me like, just give it up. And it's like, I want one fucking photograph of him crying as a hot dog. Okay. And there was a dad who was like touching his Apple Watch, yelling into his Apple Watch.
God.
And then they went to do like circle time. And he was like, we got to go, like to his wife, like we need to leave. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. And when he got there, he looked just like Chet Hanks. And so I was like, oh my God, is it Chet? Is it Chet Hanks? It was not Chet Hanks, but he looked like that guy. So like that's a version of parent too, of just like, I'm so fucking important.
Yeah.
And it's like, dog, it's Halloween and you have a baby. Just like look at them be a tiger. Like, isn't that, you can't do 30 minutes of that. You need to be screaming on your Apple Watch. So there's like, in LA, there's like both extremes, which make it like, hey, if I can just like fall somewhere in the middle, that would be nice.
It's like wellness almond mom who did a home birth or that guy.
Or Ari Gold. I was just
breaking an Apple
we
Watch.
were talking about
Ari Gold.
I've been rewatching Entourage, which is a bad choice. But Ari Gold is like, that's who was in my brain as you were telling that story.
He's going to be our Beetlejuice this day that we've just mentioned
and
so
like,
many
you
times.
know, I have agents, I have representation, and sometimes I will be like, where are your kids? Like now that I'm a mom, I'm like, where are your kids? And they're like, boarding
working all the
school.
time.
And I'm like, of course. It feels like Nick Cannon, because he got them all sort of at the same time.
That's the problem with Nick
like
Cannon,
a
I think, is
meme
the
with Nick
timing.
Cannon,
Yeah.
like just a running joke of how many kids he has. But there are a lot of there's a lot of people in Hollywood that have like a ton of kids.
Yeah, and usually it's over like the course of like decades.
Yeah.
And he really got it in during the pandemic. That was his sourdough
He was going
kid.
for the twin format of
Yeah.
just like, let's do it all at once and get it out of the way.
But also
was his
lots of
sourdough.
moms, right? Like Nick Cannon's whole thing is like
they're all
there's
different
many moms,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is, you know.
He's repopulating the earth.
Yeah, because one of them is on Selling Sunset.
Right. That is
Really?
the one I know. I know
Brie.
Brie
Yeah.
and I know Mariah Carey. That's
And then I think
How much I
and then
know.
there's a few others. But yeah.
I mean,
They're
listen,
out there.
good for Nick Cannon.
Good for Nick
I,
Cannon.
what can
he
what can we
works
say?
a lot.
Yeah,
So it
He
is
is making
he is trying to pay for it because that is expensive.
Well, that I can't fathom. And I mean, he's so rich, and also Mariah Carey. I'm sure she's paying him, frankly.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I'm like, what is the child support? Like, what is the monthly, like, like the accountant, what number is the accountant looking at every month just
That's
being
who-
doled out? Like, it's like the allowance going to each mom.
And like I think the number used to sound like a lot to me. There's a Real Housewife who like her like prenup was like pretty airtight, and so this is in Miami, and so she's like fighting for every nickel and dime, and it was like, okay, and they have 2 kids, and the husband is a plastic surgeon and like called like the boob king of Miami. You know, like he's making.
I think I know this guy.
Lenny Hochstein.
Yeah.
And she's
hope that's
only
on a
getting
bumper sticker.
$8,000 a month in spousal and child support. And I'm like, I don't think that's enough. Like, I don't.
That
like,
actually feels very low.
Not for
Right?
the boob king of Miami.
That's what, but he has a mistress. He has another girlfriend. So she's like, well, now he's having to split his money amongst like a lot of different people. And like, if I was one of Alec Baldwin's like OG kids, I'd be like, stop! You are fucking up my nepo.
True.
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
inheritance?
I wanted to just chill, and now you keep getting it in with this faux Spanish woman, and I'm
God,
gonna have
the
to get a
hilarious
job.
discourse is so funny.
That came and went.
That was the funniest fucking thing. That's
It
one of the
really
funniest
was.
things.
It
that
was
has
with
ever
us for a
happened.
bit, though.
Yeah.
It was with us for a bit.
That's fair.
Like the video and God, that was funny.
The video.
Yeah, and then there was like a lot to dig up. I mean, she really was like a gift, because it
Yeah.
felt it like even with her, it like feels like punching up. I'm not condoning punching women. That's just a phrase.
We don't do that.
Where it was like she's richer and like thinner and like hotter and more connected than I'll ever be. So like I'm gonna make fun of her pretending that she doesn't know how to say.
Yeah, she's faking an accent. It's all right.
Yeah.
God, that was funny.
It was a COVID gift.
That
Truly,
really-
that
like
was
that to me. That the comedy of that and Four Seasons Total Landscaping
Yeah.
are the funniest things that have ever
Yeah.
happened.
I forgot about.
And then the
Single
slap, the slap really.
Oh,
Watching that live was insane.
Yeah,
because
I
I was
bet.
watching it and I was like, oh, they're doing a bit. Oh, he's walking up to him. Oh, and like not knowing after the fact that it was like not a bit was insane.
Well,
Insane.
and now Jada, just keeps,
Yeah.
talk about a gift that keeps on giving.
Oh.
Like she really, she's keeping it going.
Yeah.
but also props to Will because she was saying that they were already separated
Yeah.
at the time because they've been
Yeah.
separated for like 8 years or something. So I'm like,
yeah.
oh, sick.
I see.
Like,
I
nice.
haven't even like read all the excerpts. There was so much.
I had
So much going
I had
on.
met Will. I had like I can't believe I'm like Will. I had like Will Smith wanted to do. I had like worked for his company, and then he wanted to do like a stand-up series, and so like I think 12 of us went to Las Vegas with him for 3 days and spent 3 days with him.
Wow.
And I went into it like my husband loves Fresh Prince. And I was always sort of like, yeah, he's like fine, whatever. And then I left it like loving him. Like he was just so
Seems like a good dude.
genuinely, he's not even on. This is just who he
Yeah.
is. And I was like, I really loved him. He had talked very candidly with me about their marriage because I was getting married in a month. And so each of us were like doing stand up and then had like a little sit down with him. And so he had like, I think they'd been together 24 years or something. And he was like, probably like, or maybe it was 17. I don't know. But he said like 7 of them have been bad, which
Wow.
I thought to be, and he said this on camera. It's on the Roku channel. This is not even like red tabletop gossip. Like this was out there. And I was like, oh, okay. So they're like a real married couple. Like he is willing to like say that it's not all great.
Which is refreshing in a way compared to at least like a couple that's trying to show how perfect marriage is
Yeah.
all
And
the
so I
time.
think he like snapped. I think he probably
Yeah.
got tired of everyone. Here I am like fully defending it. He
the
was
reason
nice to
why
me.
he went up to him and slapped the shit out of him.
I went on a double-decker bus with him on the Vegas Strip, and I will defend him to the death. No, it just was like, yeah, I don't know if someone like had said that like I just like fucked everybody for that long. I do think my husband would be like, hey, can you please stop saying my wife had sex with everybody?
Yeah.
Can't believe it happened live. I'll never get over that.
We can never not believe it.
We could, yeah. That was like, I actually remember like childhood memory. I remember seeing the Janet Jackson boob
Oh yes,
live, and I remember being like,
And I've hated JT since, and the Britney book
Right,
has
this is all coming
validated
out.
me. Ugh.
I know all of these men are getting so much work done.
Yeah, I
Like,
know
they all have
a lot of men that got new hair.
Oh, the
Yeah.
hair is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Ben.
And like, so now I'm just like, they have new hair. Like, I just don't believe
Yeah.
anyone's
And
hair.
it doesn't get talked about the way it's like, oh, look, so and so got her whole full facelift.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we know when someone's forehead doesn't move. And maybe they're justifying it by being like, well, that's just Botox. That's different than a facelift. But it's like, there's definitely men getting facelifts.
no, but their whole
too.
hairline move.
Yes.
Like we know when your hair
Yes.
was to here.
And like,
now
I'm
it's to here.
talking like, I know men that are like not successful that have gotten new hair.
Mhm.
Like men not in the public eye. And like, of course, if I could buy new hair, I look at LeBron sometimes and I go, he got it too early. You know, like
I've never studied
because
his
he
hair.
did get it at some point, but like he got it before the science was there. That's what I always say about the faces in Arizona. I go, they wanted it, but the technology wasn't
Oh, they
there
facelifted
yet.
too early in Arizona?
You
Why
gotta stand up in
Arizona?
Scottsdale. You could. I mean, it's Arizona, it's Florida, where it's just like we need these procedures, but like the doctors hadn't like done enough of them, and so they were still kind of guinny pigs. And
They
you're
were
like,
just figuring it out.
I don't think that's supposed to look like that, and it's a different taste level. Obviously, keep all of this in.
No, we end up talking about Florida on every episode for one reason or another, and we'll shift it to Scottsdale. Women have so many ways to transform, like hair and makeup and clothes and everything, and sometimes men, it's funny to think of them just finding
They just
want
want to get taller.
Like
They want to get taller.
have you heard about the knee thing?
Oh, I've seen.
Did you read that
all
article about like the knee lengthening surgery?
No.
You haven't heard about this?
No,
It's
what?
like in Beverly Hills is like the epicenter of it.
Of course.
There's a doctor who they fracture your legs and extend them. Like these guys pay like $100K
To
and
get
go
like
through
2 inches
to get a couple inches taller. They're in like physical therapy for a year afterwards. Like it is insane. There was this like GQ
How do you
article
explain that
about
to your
it.
friends?
So maybe we should preface this by saying we opened up our holiday advice hotline yesterday. I tried to give some advice. I'm not qualified to give a lot of advice, but maybe none of us are. So we can just tackle these
Even
one
better.
by one. Because as we approach the holidays, so we have some like work to do in our DMs. So this is our work for the day. I don't know which one to start with. I feel like Megan, I think you'll have a good one.
Okay.
How do I respond when my family asks why I'm single?
I think that's a unkind question, and I think we've evolved out of that. But I guess if you I would just be like you. Like I'd be like, you guys fucked me up.
Drama.
So if you want
answer.
to pay for my therapy and pay for me to like see a matchmaker, let's do that. And if you're not willing to get out the checkbook, then like pass the potatoes and shut up.
That is the best answer. My thought was like, pass your parents your phone and let them go through the guys
And
on
see
Hinge
what
in
the
LA and be
options are.
like,
Good luck.
Yeah,
As a single woman, that is my favorite game. I'm always like, let me see your
It's
Hinge.
so fun. It's a game. It's so fun.
Ooh, in Indiana. Yikes.
Oh,
But you know,
There is-
the divorces. That's where the gold is.
No, but you do see it shift. So we've talked about this before. I don't have any real apps, but I have like a fake Bumble that I used to use for work.
a
and
fumble.
I would look at, like, depending on where I am, I love to just like poke around and see what's
Wait,
out
you
there.
still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That's so fun.
It's so fun. It's terrifying.
Who's the
Yeah.
picture?
Me very far away. Like you can't see me in the photo.
And that's it?
What's crazy is men are still swiping yes on that whatever way you're.
They're
And I'm like,
there's a hole.
Yeah.
there's a pulse.
Literally, if there's a hole, it's
If there's a
swipe
hole,
right.
there's a way.
Oh God.
We got that question a lot too. Like I think a lot of people have to deal with that when they go home, which is really annoying.
That makes me sad. Also,
It
that
is.
you're right. It does feel outdated. It's
The
like
boomers, it's like we're not saying
It is a
that
boomer
anymore.
question.
Like,
yeah,
we're not
but
doing
that is.
because some people are single by choice. Some people don't want to be single. It's like when on Mother's Day and they show like the flowers of like these are yellow and that means you're like you and your mom have a strained relationship.
Yeah.
It's like we need that for singlehood too. Of like
Yeah,
we
that's
are
so
not
real.
doing this anymore. Just blanket statements for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. This question's really weird. I don't know if I should read this one. I'm going to.
Read it.
My second cousin is really hot and we always have a heavy flirting vibe. What do I do?
Get a grip.
Like
we just made him gasp.
See, I'm like, what? How are they second cousin?
they
Are we
blood
talking
related?
marriage?
Yeah.
Like, are you British? Is this Roy? Listen, that is how.
That is how the royal family came to be.
Yes,
That is how the Lannisters
But
came
not
to be.
like now. Like I am not okay.
I think the only reason they're even flirting is because it's like right on the
Forbidden.
cusp of
Yeah.
of being like not okay.
But it's like if you're not blood related.
What? Okay, so you're gonna hook up?
But then what? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is just there's no like I think it's like I mean like go to a bar
I
in the
don't feel-
hometown
yeah.
and meet anybody
But
else.
it's got to be kind of fun to be at a family gathering and be like,
And
at
have
least
a
I have someone to.
crush. because flirting is
wanna
so
flirt
fun.
with. You are
You guys, I am so opposed to everything you're saying. Like we're on very opposite sides of the table here.
Spices it up a little
Yeah. I'm
You
not saying to
know?
escalate it. I just think
No.
flirting is fun.
And like, you're so like bloated and your clothes are bad. You're like, maybe this keeps you from like eating a 7th plate.
or if somebody still thinks you're hot at Thanksgiving, that's like
Yeah.
such an ego boost.
But you even
You guys have lost me.
I feel like I had maybe they were like a third cousin who was flirting with me once, and I was very creeped out by it. And he may have just been like nice. Like I may have
You're
just
like,
been
oh, so you think I'm hot?
why is this man talking to me?
And he's like, can you pass me the potato?
How many men are too many men to see at the same time? The limit does not exist. Date them all. I don't
Was
have-
that a question? Sorry.
Is that a question?
I thought you were
No,
just
that was
talking.
the question. I just immediately answered.
That
the
was the
limit does not
well. I think
exist.
at Christmas that's actually complicated though, because now you're talking about gifts and like
Oh,
and
that's
having
true.
to go like see maybe even if it's just like friends gatherings and the holidays are so jam packed
Mm-hmm.
that I would pick one that you really like, and if you don't really like them, maybe 2 that you both kind
Yeah.
of don't like.
one gift at least, because otherwise you're getting gifts for all
That's
of them.
so much.
Also,
And,
who
like,
do you spend New Year's with?
I'm trying to like not buy all my nieces presents. Like I'm like, y'all, my brothers they're never gonna buy my son a gift. And it's like, I've been the aunt for 10 years. Like,
Oh yeah,
can
yeah.
I
yeah.
Secret Santa one of these bitches?
I always too think about like, I don't know how people have affairs even, because that just seems like so much work.
You
And
have to
time.
get a separate phone.
Yeah, like that's exhausting.
Very
I
exhausting.
don't know how people do it. Much as a date, but more power to this person that wants to date.
Someone
a lot of
once asked me,
men.
they were like, if your husband was cheating, would you want to know? And I'm like, no, because there's nothing I'm going to do about it. I don't have time to get a revenge body. So just like keep it out of my face.
Have you guys had like a hall pass discussion?
Well, we have sort of, but like and maybe this because we live in LA and like work at like some of my hall passes I've come in contact
You know.
It's
with.
funny in LA because you actually could. meet
Yeah,
that
like there's
person.
like multiple men that are like my number ones that I've like worked with, and I'm like,
I won't make you say it, but I do want to know after this. who
like
they
a
are.
childhood like dream of mine like stared at my ass once, and like
That's so exciting. Congrats.
I brought it to my husband, like, oh my God, I think I could have had sex with so and so, like, as like isn't this so cool? And he was like, I do not think this is cool. He did not like it.
That's
He
true. Maybe it works in Indiana, but it doesn't really work in LA when you
No,
could
he-
actually meet these
No,
people.
that is actually true. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Where really it is within reach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I dream small.
Oh,
Like-
that's nice.
Yeah.
What is something in LA that you think is massively overrated, and what is something that you think is massively underrated in LA?
Massively overrated. Hiking. I don't want to hike.
We get
A
this
lot of people don't like hiking.
Mm.
I love walking.
Yeah.
I like going for walks in my neighborhood.
I'm sorry,
But,
because
like-
you were coughing. It looks like you're
I know.
crying.
It looks
I
like
know.
you're crying over hiking.
Hold on, we'll start this over. It looks like
You're like,
the idea.
I don't like hiking.
Underrated. I think the chain restaurants of LA. Like the Del
Tell us.
Tacos, the Mendocino Farm.
Mendo, big Mendo
Fucking love
girls.
Mendo.
Like I think like even Tender Greens. Like I think these, and during the strike and definitely during COVID, like I'm usually in writers' rooms, and so those are like the places we get, and everyone like makes fun of them. And I'm like, I order those to my house. And you know who I also really have taken a liking to? And we don't have them on the east side, but I know they're on the west side, is those delivery robots. I find them to be
The Cocos, they're
lovely,
cute.
so sweet. One stopped so I could walk. Like I was like, you're a gentleman. Like you should be training people how to date.
They're very cute.
They're
I
right
love
around my
watching them.
apartment. Like there's like a hub of them on my block. And sometimes I'm going on a walk and I'll be like, oh, and it is. I like humanize them. I'm like, oh, hello. And then it's almost as if they're going like, you go ahead.
They do.
They're
I
more
got
polite than men.
so worried the night before the hurricane. I saw so many of
you
them,
were
and I
worried
was like,
about the
"You need to go
Cocos?
home. You're gonna wind up in Santa Barbara.
What is-
You're gonna be flying through the air,
That's
Dorothy style."
Oh my God.
That's how their
What did
business
they do
expands.
with the Cocos during the hurricane?
I think they tied him down.
Where do they go to sleep?
I don't know. I know that they are robots that are coming for all of our jobs. So I'm like, this first iteration, pretty cute.
No, I have the problem of like when I see all the bird scooters like laying down at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, they're sleeping.
I don't like. I wish
don't
they
even
were
like them
propped
when they're awake.
up. I wish they were propped up.
Yeah.
I can't ride a bike even.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just I'm really like afraid and can't do it.
Of a bicycle?
A bicycle? I don't know how to ride one. I rode one like in middle school for like a year. So it's not like.
Have you ever been tempted to learn, or you just
my
like, no?
dad was like, I know you know how to ride a bike. Like he was like so mad. This was probably like 3 years ago, and like got one out, and I got on it and immediately fell.
You
and
just need training wheels.
I probably do. Or like now they got like those big thick wheels. Or I would like a four-wheeler.
A four-wheeler is a dream.
Tricycle is what you want. A big
I think I want four wheels.
No, the four-wheelers are so fun. Like you do want a four-wheeler.
Yeah, I want
like
that.
with a motor.
Yeah.
Oh, like an ATV.
Yeah.
I want an
Oh,
ATV.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's been really, really lovely. Thank you for celebrating our holiday with us. Our little treats.
I love the holidays.
Please plug your podcast and also where people can find you, all of your socials. Are you touring? Anything? Just
Okay.
plug it all.
My podcast is, I started a coughing fit in my head. The podcast is called I Love My Kid, But, and
Such a good name.
It's a we talk shit about being parents. We obviously love our kids, but there's a ton of like advice podcasts and talking to like child psychiatrists. Like we have none of that. It's just like I got pooped on and I had a tough day. And it's myself and two other comedians, so hopefully it's funny too. I'm going on the road a little bit. I'm going to be doing Sketch Fest in San Francisco. Fun. So if you're a LA expat and you're up there, and we're actually bringing the podcast up there. So that's January 27th. And then I post all my LA shows on my Instagram, which is at Better Megan Gailey. And then my ex is at Megan Gailey, and I'm on TikTok at Better Megan Gailey as well.
I was like, your ex, and then I remembered it's Twitter. I was
I
like, wait, your
know.
ex?
I
Wait,
know.
could you
I also could not. I was
could
like,
you
your
quickly
ex?
explain why you are Better Megan Gailey?
Yeah,
Is
so
there another?
There was another, and I felt as though I needed to send her a message. And then I believe she has since gotten married and like doesn't even have that handle anymore. But I just, it was like, here I am.
It's iconic. It's like Cher.
Thank you.
I love that.
It was really a petty day. Like I don't know.
I love that.
If it had been the next day, if I would have been that petty, but I really.
It's pretty petty to commit all of your social handles to say you're the Better
Yeah,
Megan.
I was just like mad. I'm like, ugh, just give it to me.
I love it.
Were you like in a fight with her?
I can't even remember. I don't even think so.
You were just, I know.
Wonder what she's like too.
In my mind, I was.
I just love the whole sending a message. That's fantastic.
Yeah, like what's she up to,
Well, not being fucking better.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. This has been an
thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And if you are trying to break up with somebody, do it before the holidays.
Yeah.
That's
do it
our
now.
learning today. Just get
Sooner
it over
rather
with.
than later.
All right. That's our show. Bye.
Bye.